Hello everyone and welcome to this screencast on Monroe's Motivated Sequence. This should be under the video and audio file section of D2L underneath the title of Using the Sequence. Now this is a required speech format for your persuasive presentation, and there are instructions and examples throughout your textbook, especially in chapter 16, and page 487 is of course the specific one that I've brought out for now. However, you probably have already seen this slide or at least recognize it because it is near the end of Chapter 16's PowerPoint, and I wanted to go over it with you really quickly to introduce you to, again, some of the concepts you might not quite have gotten just by reading the textbook. Now, Monroe's Motivated Sequence is the required format for this class, A, because it is the most effective persuasive strategy in pretty much the world. You can use different strategies for different types of topics like cause and effect, problem solution, and so on. However, Monroe's Motivated Sequence is the most proven one for influencing other people's behavior and actions. If you want to accomplish change, if you want something to be done, if you want something to actually occur, Monroe's Motivated Sequence is the preferred method. Now, what we're going to do is walk through it just piece by piece by piece and see if the points in it make sense and see how they apply to the outlining and presentation skills you've already developed. To begin, we are going to first start with the first one, which is to grab attention. Now, this sounds pretty basic because you've been doing this all semester now. You had to grab our attention in your informative presentation. You had to get our attention in your nonverbal and group papers. You had to get our attention in pretty much everything you've done because, as we have established, if you don't have our attention, why are you talking? Why are you talking to us if we are not paying attention to you and listening to all the wonderful things you have to say? The difference with the Monroe's Motivated Sequence grab attention, however, is that this attention grabber has to go into a little bit more detail. With your informative presentation, you could just ask a question or show a picture, something that says, "Hey, look at me." With persuasion, you can do that, but you need to do a little bit more. Think of it this way. What are you more open to listening to? Are you more open to listening to someone just tell you some interesting information? Like, hi, did you know that river mollusks can survive out of the water for up to 2 or 3 days? Or are you going to pay more attention if someone is trying to change your mind about something? No, you shouldn't go to eat there. You should never eat seafood because it hurts our environment. Da 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 da. So, which one of those is easier to hear? Straight up information or persuasion? Almost always, again, almost always, it will be the informative one. It's easier to hear someone give us just straight facts than it is for us to listen and pay attention to someone trying to change the way we believe, feel, think, or act about something. So with a persuasive attention grabber, you need to push the envelope out just a little bit more, and you need to really spend some time thinking about the best way to get your audience to truly connect with you and with your topic. Now, this first step of Monroe's Motivated Sequence is going to serve as part of your introduction, not as the entire introduction, but as part of it. You will still have the standard introduction that has the attention grabber, the thesis statement, the preview of main points, the credibility, relevance, all of that. But the first step is just the required piece that does come first. The second step of the Monroe's Motivated Sequence will serve as your first main point. And the first main point here is to establish the need. In other words, thinking all the way back to chapter 15, one of the first chapters you all studied, creating information hunger. How do you create a need for whatever you're about to talk to us about? If you wanted to talk to me about why people should not eat seafood because sea farming is destroying the ocean environment, then you would have to first build that problem up to me. You have to explain to me, here are your subpoints if you want to write these down somewhere, what the problem is for subpoint 1 and why it's a problem for subpoint 2. So the first part of that establishing need is telling me what the problem actually is. Use research if you can. Secondly, in that main point, you will tell me why it is a problem that is worthy of our attention. Why is this something that we need to pay attention to? So find research for that one. What's going to happen if our ocean environment gets damaged? What happens if we are farming too much fish out of it? You need to tell us that it's a problem and why it's a problem. Transition neatly, and we'll go on to your second main point, which is the third step of Monroe's motivated sequence. Now, this second main point for your presentation is to provide satisfaction. That means that you give your audience a workable solution to the issue. So if I have in my need step told you what the problem was and why it's a problem, what do you think I'm going to say in this main point of providing satisfaction, of giving a solution? Well, I'm going to detail what the solution or satisfaction is, and then I'm going to detail how it actually solves the problem. So there are your subpoints for this one. Subpoint 1, what is your solution? Subpoint 2, how does it actually solve the problem at hand? And again, this satisfaction could be going back to our ocean topic of eating less seafood or not eating at all. It could be something else that we could do, raising awareness, proving it to us through statistics. You will definitely need a lot of research in your need and satisfaction steps. The rest of the speech is kind of more opinion based, but at least these two bulk points here will typically be the longest of the presentation. Once you've explained to us, first off, what our need is, and then you've moved on to what our solution is, we do get to move on to the third step of your, the third main point, but fourth step, which is visualization. This is potentially the easiest part of the speech. Everyone kind of likes this part because it's really easy. You basically just tell me, what is the world going to look like once that problem no longer exists? What is the world going to look like once that problem isn't here anymore? So your visualization step is a description of how things will be once we don't have to worry about that problem anymore. So if my need was that we need to reduce ocean farming, my satisfaction would be workable methods, research-based for how to do that. My visualization would be a description of how healthy the environment will be and all these beautiful things that will happen if we do that satisfaction, if we no longer have that need anymore. The danger with the visualization step, though, of course, is that people try to take it a little bit too far and start going, oh, the world will be perfect and it'll be the best thing in the universe and there are rainbows everywhere. Not necessarily. You can't go that far. Your audience will smell it a mile off. They will know that it isn't working, and they will probably just decide to not give you any credibility at that point. So don't let the visualization detach you from reality. You can tell me what the world will logically be like once this need or issue no longer exists, but don't push it so far that you've kind of stepped outside of logic, because again, your audience will notice and they will not react positively to it. The last step of the Monroe's motivated sequence is something that will happen at the end, or at least as part of your conclusion, and it is the call to action. The call to action is very much what it sounds like. This is when you tell your audience exactly what they can go do individually themselves to go make that visualization occur. This is when, most times, you look your audience in the eye, you point at them, and you tell them, again, individually what they can do. Do not say in a call to action, go out there and make the world a better place, because we're not going to do that. And let's think about it. If someone walks up to you, gives you a high five, and says, make the world a better place, well, how? Is that from not littering? Is that from singing every day? Is that from, high-fiving strangers? I mean, how am I making the world a better place? It doesn't work. You need to be specific. So it could be something like go sign a petition, join an awareness march, run a 5K, reduce your intake of seafood, talk to your friends. I mean, it could be anything like that. And again, your call to action can be common sense, logical things to do, or it could be something heavily research-based. The more specific you are, the easier this is going to be. If you give your audience a very difficult task to fulfill that takes a lot of time and energy, think of your audience. They're family members, college students, really busy people. They're not going to go out and do it. If you give them something really simple to do, then maybe they could do it. Something like, hey, don't eat at Captain D's or Long John Silver's for the next 6 months. Okay, yeah, I can do that. So, give them something simple that they can go do. So going back to the beginning here, let's do a really quick walkthrough so you can see how each of these main points lean on each other. Each one needs the other. You start off by getting our attention as part of your introduction. You make us want to know what's going on. You then give us an establishing of need, where you tell us what the problem is and why it is a problem that's worth our attention. Following behind that, you're going to give us some type of solution that fixes the problem. You will explain what your solution is and how it actually fixes the problem. And then you're going to tell us how amazing things are going to be once that problem no longer exists. Finally, as part of your conclusion, you still need to have your in conclusion signal, your thesis statement, and review of main points. You will call us to action by telling us what steps we can take to go out there and make that visualization actually occur. Now, the rest of the speech is pretty standard. You need to have sources. They have to be cited with the author, title, and year. You have to have transitions in there. So the rest of it is really similar to your informative presentation, but these main points kind of all go together as a group. And my hope is that this audio file and screencast will help make a little bit more sense. If you need any assistance, let me know. As always, I'm here to help. If you need any other examples, I will be happy to be providing them for you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.